It's time to light the music. It's time to start the lights. It's time to get together and steal some copyrights.
I see what you did there at the end. It was like the Muppet song, only you sang something about copyrights.
Well, I fucked up some words, and then I started. And then I sang.
When does that show start?
Soon.
Oh wait,
Half-assed podcast.
Okay,
Should I go? It's time to start the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get together and listen to Half-assed podcast tonight.
We're gonna talk about people. They really won't like it.
It's probably about the Mowers or how Patrick Donahue is racist.
Racist.
Oh, that was pretty good. We flow together. We flow.
Talk about timely things or things that won't make sense to anybody later, but have just happened now. That Amtrak crash. Yo, what about that Amtrak crash? Yo,
what? I haven't actually been on the news. I've been napping.
You missed the news for 2 days. You've been napping for 2 days.
I've been in a coma.
What coma?
Actually, it's baseball season. It's baseball season here in Missouri, and that's all we've been doing. It's just going to batting cages. I've been. My wife's still recovering from her hysterectomy, and there's a thing called Netflix. So when I am home,
I know all about the Netflix.
When I am home, it's Raising Hope all the time.
Oh, I forgot about that show. Is that over yet?
I don't know. It's on Netflix.
I thought it ended. I watched it on and off, but it was always a good show. Well,
Netflix is like time travel. It is just like time travel. There's no start. There's no end. It's just there. It's both at the same time. There is a beginning. There is an end. But it's always going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just there forever.
So
in the ether.
Forever. It's a loop.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was something about how, when some tragedy strikes, I always find it annoying when people are trying to find a way to link themselves to it and be part of the drama. Like, oh my God, I was right there. So that leads me into this Amtrak train crash story. There was a train crash. 7 people died.
Not a crane crash.
No, not the crane didn't crash. Just the train did. The train went around the crane.
It wasn't like a flock of birds just fucking flying.
Oh, trains like that. That would be even cooler. No, there was a horrible train crash and 7 people died and hundreds of people injured. And it was 3 blocks from where I used to live. Oh,
what?
That affects me.
7 people though?
Oh,
Is that really newsworthy?
It was a pretty nasty crash. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to sound heartless, but it's 7 fucking people in
7
a world.
White people.
In a world of 7 billion.
7 white people.
7 people died.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really newsworthy?
Well, if you want to go by the billions thing, how many people did you say were killed by cops this year?
Right as of right now, in the United States.
Yeah.
500 maybe.
All right. So in a world of 7 billion people, is that really 5 people? Is that really?
Well, you know what?
Really something for you to get upset about, huh?
No,
you fucking hypocrite.
But you have more. I deal with cops more often than I deal with trains. It's not like I'm going to get on an Amtrak. Here
personally doesn't affect you.
Here in Missouri, the trains, we do the trains different. We don't. 1, we never get on them, and 2, if you do,
driven.
If you do, you're going like, I don't know, a couple 100 miles away, and it takes 3 days.
Or you're robbing it.
Yeah, or you're robbing it. You're on horseback robbing it.
So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's not your money, it's the bank's. Just give it up.
Yeah, so that was a big news story. But then, so I guess I have a real story, though.
It was Mother's Day.
Mother's Day weekend. It was a great way to spend Mother's Day weekend. Having your mother as your patient while you're nursing her back to health from a simple, I'm doing air quotes, people can't see it, simple procedure.
I have a question before we start. Have you ever considered getting Fred and your mom together?
Oh yeah, we've tried it.
Have you really?
No.
You should try that. And then they get married and you're actually fucking your stepsister.
Oh, that would be so hot.
Wouldn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
I'm not even lying. It would be I would masturbate to the fact that you and your wife are now stepsisters.
I would not call her anything else but Cersei as I was doing it. Call me Jamie.
Jamie, Cersei.
I'll push Sophia out a window when she catches us.
She just crawls back in on her fucking hands, her lifeless legs dragging behind her.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
There she is.
Aw, her shirt says "I love Daddy," because she does. Did you pick that out? Yeah, nodding really works well for a podcast. I'm gonna teach you.
Or touch the mic more often.
So I took my mom for an outpatient procedure. They call it, a simple surgery, the one where they knock you out for like about an hour, and then you're going home later that afternoon.
Yeah.
This was Friday, so supposed to be out of there on our way back to our house by 4 or 5 at night at the latest. I knew I was going to be in the waiting room a lot, and thank God for Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that, because I loaded myself up with shows.
No, for just an hour.
Well, I thought it was going to. Well, you know how hospitals are, though. An hour procedure, You're waiting 2-3 hours before it, and then another 2 hours after it.
Yeah, you're there all day anyway.
Yeah, so I've saved all my shows to watch that day. I had Arrow, The Flash, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I had everything just lined up and ready. And I started realizing something was a little bit off when I got through all of them and was looking for other things to watch. It's like, well, what the fuck is taking so long? So, they didn't bring me back till about 5 o'clock for her surgery was done at 3, but they left her in the recovery room just sleeping it off. And she already has trouble recovering from anesthesia. Like she's one of those people that just hits her really hard, so she has trouble waking up.
Was this known to them? Was this known to them? Did the doctor?
Yeah. This is like her 3rd time in surgery, so they knew that it works. But you can't. I guess just because of that, they can't do any more or less because of that. It's not like you can. We're gonna just let her ride this one out instead of giving her anesthesia.
Well, no, but you figure they can, find the sweet spot, so to speak. Something they can tinker with it a little bit.
Just hit her with a hammer.
Yeah, get her really drunk. Just fucking, find how many shots it takes to knock her out, and just give her that many Apple Crowns. Apparently,
they found her sweet spot, because she could not wake up.
Yeah, they found the sweet spot on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, the almost kill you sweet spot. No,
drug-induced coma sweet spot.
So you think everything's just kind of normal, and you're not thinking much about like, I'm just taking my mom for the simple procedure. It sucks that she has to go through that. You feel bad for her. And then they called me back there at 5 o'clock because they were having trouble getting her up. They thought, well, maybe we'll bring him back and maybe he could wake her up a little bit.
The sound of her son will pull her. Not only do they realize that it's just going to drive her further into sleep.
Come to the light. So, and they want to do their turnover. They want to split those beds over. So it's a short procedure room. They want to get you in and out. So that whether she's all loopy and half asleep, and they're like, all right, so I'm waking her up, and she was up a little bit and saying all kinds of weird stuff. Like, what did she say? She said she woke up out of a daze and said, "Who are you waving at?"
Waving at your family.
She woke up out of a daze and said, "Oh, I got to show you the pictures from the Easter egg hunt," and then fell right back asleep.
Now you're sitting there waiting for these fucking pictures. Like,
all right,
that's the one thing that she remembered. Didn't you think that just once, like, man, these could be some fucking good pictures?
Well, yeah, but my phone was dead because I thought I was only going to be in there for a little while, so it had ran out completely of batteries. So it was just about that. It was on its last leg because that's part of the story too that I'm getting at.
Okay.
So she wakes up and she starts feeling a little nauseous because anesthesia also makes her a little nauseous. So the nurse comes in. She says, all right, we'll see what they'll give you. So she comes over with this big old IV bag of something she's going to hook to her other IV bag. I'm thinking already, all right, she's out of it. So what you're going to do is put about a gallon of some kind of medicine into her. And then she said, yeah, and this stuff is going to make you a little sleepy.
Oh, that's
okay.
Great. That's what you need.
Yeah. So she said, well, it'll make you a little sleepy. We'll just let you doze off for another hour or two. You'll just be here later. And I was like, all right, whatever you got to do as long as she feels better. So they gave her that. About 2 hours later, 7 o'clock now. The nurse comes over and says, "Oh, we got to get her up. I really don't like how much she's sleeping." It's like, okay. So the nurse starts shaking her a little bit, saying, "Joan, come on, wake up, Joan." And then she's like, "You try too." So I'd say, "Mom, I'm getting a divorce and marrying a black chick." No, but
your granddaughter was kidnapped.
Yes, and she just dead asleep.
I want to show you those pictures from my wedding.
She's not opening her eyes, not even budging. So the nurse actually starts opening her eyes like you would do, like in a I don't know, in a Three Stooges movie,
like a child would do to you when they're trying to wake you up.
Exactly,
like a child, like a 3-year-old.
Sophia does that to me. You're exactly right. So yeah, she was trying to hold her eyes open. She goes over and gets some water on a rag and's like wiping her face with it.
And she's like spilled it on.
Yeah. Well, it was cold. She was basically trying to do that. She was kind of getting a lot of water on her, and then she said, "Oh, she's just not getting up." And she looked at her vitals, and her vitals are fine, but she's starting to yell her name louder now. So these other nurses come running over, and they're like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Oh, she's just a little too sleepy for me." And one big nurse, she's got to be 6'6" and 200 pounds, all muscle too. Yeah.
Hilda, come in. My name is Broomhilda.
So she lifts her up, and she's holding her up by her shoulders and kind of shaking her a little bit. And she had surgery on her right side too, so I'm sure this isn't helping with the stitches and all. So the other nurse is now pinching her cheeks, while another nurse is holding her arm up and letting it drop. And like, "Come on, Joan, wake up." Then they say. So I'm starting to freak out a little bit at this point.
if you're just describing, if they were all blonde, big titted, and like 19, I would seriously just masturbate to this story.
Right. Well, I wasn't, because I was more afraid of my mom being dead or something like that.
Well, that's your mom. I mean, if you're masturbating to your mom, that's weird.
Yeah, that took the hotness out. Well. It'd be weird if I did that more than once. So
I'm just saying from the outside perspective. I don't want to disrespect your mom, but
no. So they can't wake up. They call 2 doctors, come running over. Now they throw the hospital bed back and they put a mask on her. And this big nurse starts taking me out of the room. Like,
well, let's get to this point. Okay, so now
the fuck is happening?
The nurses are being completely unprofessional. Just completely unprofessional.
No. They actually
they're picking up a lady who just had surgery. Revive her.
She was
they're picking her up though. I mean, you don't do that to a person who just got out of surgery. You don't pinch, you don't slap, you don't open the eyes of people.
Yeah, you do. When you're trying, you don't know what you're supposed to do or not do. You're not a nurse.
You don't do that. You don't
know that.
That's the same stuff. Okay, I do know that, because that's the same stuff a 3-year-old does to you. You do not go and say, "Hey, my 3-year-old wakes me up like this, so it must be either I have the smartest 3-year-old who instinctively knows how to wake people up like nurses."
Or trying to get her to be alert so she didn't go into respiratory failure.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, from the way you're
all right, Nurse Gary, you explain what should have happened.
Let me say this. From the way you're telling the story, it sounds like these nurses were completely unprofessional.
No, that wasn't what you're missing.
Now, hold on. I'm saying from how it sounds.
No, now, how you're hearing is what you mean.
From how it sounds.
Okay.
How it sounds. The nurses are being completely unprofessional, trying to wake up your mom. They finally call some doctors, right?
Yes.
That should have been like, for you, woo. They're calling the doc, not woo, but woof. They're calling some doctors. Here come some people who know how to wake her up, instead of pinching her, slapping at her, dumping water on her, shaking her. These doctors should know something better. Did they?
I don't know. That's when they drug me out of the room.
Okay, so
they drug me out of the room. So my point of the story is, I'm in here for the short procedure for my mom, and all of a sudden, I'm there getting hit with this fear of, is my mom dying right now? What the fuck is going on? They can't wake her up. She's out. You see 5 people trying to revive somebody and they won't wake up. Any normal person would have woke up. I'm thinking she could be in a coma now. It was horrible.
In a coma? Yeah. Or if she wasn't in a coma, she was beaten into one, apparently.
Yeah. So
just smacked into a coma. Drowned.
We're not going to post this story if we're talking bad about the nurses. My mom liked the nurses. I liked the nurses. Temple
We're not going to
great.
post a story if we're talking bad about the nurses.
No, because you weren't there. They weren't being, but they were doing what they needed.
Okay.
They were doing what they needed to do.
You get so defensive about the nurses. Look at your face.
Because you weren't there. Look at your face. Your fucking ugly face. All right.
Oh, okay. No. Everybody they need this video needs to be watched. Your face is you're so cute. You know that? You're so cute. You're adorable.
Yeah.
Don't be mad. You're adorable.
You just think you know everything. You weren't even there. All right, goodbye.
Oh, where are you going?
Bye.
What? Where are you going?
Fixing my pipper. But
so did your mom turn out okay?
What do you care? You should know. You're a fucking professional. You know everything about every subject better than anybody, don't you?
Hey, no. I'm just going by how you.
No, you're not.
You explain the story. This is how you explain the story. Your mom couldn't handle the drugs.
Yes, so the nurses were trying to revive her. Whatever they had to do.
They got water. They were shaking her. They were prying her eyes open with her fingers.
They were trying to look at her pupils. They had lights that showed. They had to see their pupils are dilated.
You didn't say that. You said they were just prying.
How can I if you won't shut the fuck up while I'm talking? All right, I'm serious. I'm done with this one.